welcome to today's NCCR workshop news. Today we are going to talk about this. So we're going to talk about our frames and how it started, what happened in between, and how we got here, basically.
Yeah. Hello from Swedish Outback. Hope you're all well. Difficult times for all of us. Stay safe and hope to have some amusement today for you. I think it was more than 10 years ago when we started to build the first frames, and we had this cool idea. Sweden is the land of the choppers, so we thought, yeah, we need to have a hardtail frame where the XB engine fits in, and then we built it, the first frames with this awesome 40 millimeter thick tubes, and it was not really a good business.
Basically, everyone can make one here because the Swedes are very handy by themselves. So if they can't do it, then their neighbor probably can.
Yeah, and there are companies like in Holland or in Far East, they make a frame for $500, $600, $700, and there was no business in, so we skipped it after a while, after some bikes, and then we even won a competition.
We did, right?
Made it to the cover of Swedish MC Nyt.
Yes, and I had the single most horrible hairstyle.
We will look into that.
Oh, please don't! No.
But this there we learned a lot about manufacturing and about working with the tube ends. But it was always because of that we come from racing. We want to build race frames, but of course it need to be chrome moly 43 whatever, and
4130, right?
Yeah, but our welder said, no, we don't want to do that.
Oh, it's witchcraft. You don't want to deal with chromoly because, oh no.
Yeah, you need to gas fill the tube and
it gets brittle.
And we over the years we ordered, I think, from 3-4 different companies. We ordered the tubes and we made some test welds, and he was never happy with that. So we skipped that, and then it took us some years till we popped into the Dokol steel from SSAB.
Yes, SSAB is the Swedish Steel Corporation, I guess they're translated to. It's a Svenska Stål Aktiebolag in Swedish. And what they do is they make steel. It's as easy as that.
Since more than 100 years, I think.
Yeah, and they make it locally in Sweden and in Finland.
Yeah, and they have this high-grade, super strength steel for different kind of applications. You find the Tulox, what is used for tools or for scoops because of the minimum wear, and then you have the tubes, what is the Dokol tubes, the R8 tube, and then you have the sheet metal.
Yes.
What is Domex?
Domex, yes.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of other metals as well. They have one that's called Armox, for instance, and that's for armory, as you would think.
For armed
vehicles.
Yeah, armored vehicles.
Armored.
They're also armed, maybe. Yeah, this is this sheet metal, and this is the tube metal here, what we use. So, back to the project.
Yes,
That was a girls' project. I was not really involved.
Well, you did do some of the hard work, but the ideas were basically my mom and me. Because it started with the wheels that we don't have now, unfortunately, because they're very impractical inside here in the workshop. You would ruin the floor in 2 seconds, because they're 20 millimeters ice.
25.
20 in the middle, 20 on the sides, 25, because we had to shorten them because of the swing arm.
Right, indeed.
So they were ice speed racing studs, so very impractical inside. So we changed them. I'm sorry. On the pictures you will see the nice ones, the cool ones. Oh. And it started with those tires actually, and they're from 2009 when we were on Lake Dellen. That's the lake just here in that spot. and we're on the ice for an ice speed record with Craig Jones and Wing Shui.
We have the first world record ever on ice, and it's taken by Buell, of course.
11:25 with NOS, so that was fun.
238 kilometer per hour. 238.
In 2009.
Yeah.
And then my mom and I, we had the tires just lying around in the barn, and was like, we have to do something with them because they have history and they're really awesome looking. So we made up this whole story. What if, and now this actually doesn't sound so strange thanks to Corona, but what if in like 10, 20, 50 years from now, there would have been a big apocalypse and there was not a single belt available for the Buell anywhere.
Especially not the 11 millimeter.
The Holy Grail. So we would have to go to Haparanda, which is almost Finland. It's over, what is it? How many kilometers is it?
850.
Yeah, something like 850 kilometers. And we would have to go there.
To find the last 11 millimeter XB9 belt.
But, of course, this is the apocalypse. Or post-apocalypse, so there would be no fuel, so we would have to run on moonshine. So that's the story around it.
Because the bike was built for photo shooting.
Yes, we were going down to the SSAB steel mill, and there we needed something really like cool and really something that fit into the environment. So we came up with this, and if you look at it closely, it's a lot of funny details. It's not a build that we are taking ourselves so very seriously. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun.
And it is, of course, an Eric Buell tribute bike. Eric had birthday yesterday, and of course, because of that, it needed to be, of course, a fuel in the frame bike. What is with a skeleton frame like our backbone frame here not so easy to do because the fuel would pour out. So we
really?
Yeah, this is why we needed to have this spaceship Enterprise style external fuel tanks.
We have this picture. It's amazing. If you turn the whole frame and the fuel cells upside down, it looks exactly like the Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
So what we basically did is we made a frame that would use as much as possible from the original XB. So this was an XB9R. And we are reusing the swing arm, everything, basically. Stop playing. Even the Uniplumbnar mount, we are using the original fairing bracket. It's shortened, of course. We are using...
And it carries a battery now.
Yes, it has the battery in the nose.
Yeah.
And we are using the original triples, fork, engine, basically everything. Even the oil cooler is the same. And the foot pegs.
Swing arm. Yeah. And even the foot pegs. We have on this frame what is available to buy, by the way, in two different styles. Yes. There's one bit more expensive what carries a Uniplumbnar, and there's a second version where the engine get hard mounted. So this is replacing the rubbers in the rear, and there's a special mount at the front. And with that, I think you can build easily. This frame is very, very fairly priced. Like, what is it?
It's $1,500.
I think it's $1,500 with when you're not run the Uniplumbnar, and then you need a fuel tank and some other stuff. But with that, you can build an awesome custom bike with a really, really small budget when you have a Donator XB.
Yeah, and it's also... the idea was also to show off the frame. That's why we have the weird fuel cells. Maybe not the best if you have long legs. I actually fit my knees in here. Most people don't. And so, of course, we also made a fuel tank. Because, of course, when people first saw it, they were like, well, this is cool, but not very practical. And of course, it is not. So this is fun because I make all of this by myself in the CAD program. So if you print it out and put it on cardboard, it looks like this, and we do have the parts too. Yeah.
Also here the idea is these are the parts.
Yeah. This is the sides of the tunnel.
and the idea is that if you can aluminium weld, you can do without an English wheel, without any real skills of metal forming, you can build your own fuel tank. There will be also.
We also have a tail.
Yeah, exactly. We also have the tail, and there will be, of course, also the possibility to put a flat tracker tank on, a fuel tank on, and a Harley-style flat tracker seat. But we thought this is kind of boring to do that. That is, yeah, some easy peasy stuff. The fairing, of course, you all recognized. It's 1952 Puch GP front fairing.
No, it's headgear. Remember that picture?
Yeah, right. And we have some LED front lamps.
Yes.
And so the frames are something we will soon have, if the weather gets good again. At the moment it is...
right now it's actually sleeting, so it's like rain and snow mixed, and it's really grey and really ugly.
Yeah, but with this frame you can build, you could even build a race bike from it if you want. We have some versions of this frame made in thinner steel, and with that, I guess with a hard mounted engine, and if you go on carburetor and a Dyna 2000i injection, this bike is still injected. It has the fuel pump integrated here in the left tank. But if you go without fuel pump, without ECM, just the Dyna 2000i and HSR 42 Mikuni, I would say with the frame and minimum fuel tank, you can go definitely under 150 kilo for a bike ready to go with this concept.
Would you hand me that frame, please?
Yep. Yeah, this is one of these thinner ones.
Yeah, so this is 2 millimeters, and you can tell it's not heavy. I have not been working out, so it is a really nice construction, and we try to minimize the weight with the holes as much as possible. And
we can influence the flex also.
Yes.
So we can say we use stronger sides, weaker tops. We can influence by the welding if we weld it all through, or if we spot weld. So this development we made is for us the start of an how you say, Baukasten.
That's a good question.
It's
like a kit.
Yeah, it's a toolbox. So it's always a base, and if you want to see the frame, you make it partly visible or full visible, like here. But you can also put some underslung tubes under and some side exhaust, and you make a KR 750 replica from it. The interesting thing is that the geometry and the stiffness and everything is like a real bike. So it is not something like many custom bikes or wannabe race bikes or cafe races who are a pain in the butt when you try to ride. This really works.
It handles. Yeah.
And this Dokol steel, we use it also for our 1190 frames, and you have heard it maybe already. There we intend to put a lot more power in. The material is nice also on the tubes. It is easy to bend CNC or even by hand. If you Google Dokol R8 tubes, then you can learn a lot about it, and the welding is also easy. Yeah,
the welding, you don't have to do any voodoo with it. You can MIG weld it, you can TIG weld it, and you can see where the heat has been induced. So usually if you would be talking chromoly, this zone would be getting very brittle. So if you would crash, this would directly crack. But in the Dokol steel, it is different, because here the heat induction does not make the material brittle, but it makes it a little bit more formable, you could say. So even if you would crash, like it is used a lot in top fuel racing, so even if they crash, they still have a chance that they can straighten out the chassis instead of just throwing the whole thing away.
Yeah, our partners here in Sweden, ME Racing from Borlänge, they built this top fuel and funny car chassis, and they're also building a lot of rollover cells and cages. It is a very, very well accepted material, and it will take away the chromoly on a lot of spots, because it is so easy. You know, there's no gas filling, there's no voodoo. You just weld it at home, literally in your garage, and you are able to build a high quality and also not so expensive construction. There are suppliers in Europe, here in Sweden, of course, with ME Racing, but there are also some companies who have the material on the shelf in the USA.
So you can also weld it together with other steels. So it's not that you can only weld it with another cold tube. You can also weld it to other mild steels.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can. And you can weld it also with the two-lock steel. So, like here, this is the steering head from our 1190, where the air goes through the steering head directly into the airbox and what follows, and that all goes good together. But as Julia just said, you also can mix it up with other materials.
And also, it's a high-strength steel, so. Compared to normal steel, you can either save weight or have a stronger construction. So you can say about a third lighter. You can build about a third lighter than with normal steel, or you make it 1/3 stronger if you take the same measures.
Yeah, and the strength compared to chromoly 4130, when you look into the numbers, it's slightly better, like 10%. SSOB always say, yeah, it's equal, that they don't step any toes, but there's also this other great tubes what can even do more, but there are not so many sizes. Dimensions. Here you get all dimensions up to without any problem up to 2-inch, 50 millimeter, and then there for some special applications. This is even also to cold steel, but that was a little bit tricky to get this 100 millimeter, and it was super thick material. I think it was a centimeter, and the guy nearly killed himself on the super turner to get the material off.
Because it was flying off.
Yeah. So, well, that is the.
And it's also approved by is it SFI and by the FIA? FIA.
Yeah. Yes. It is for roll cages. FEI approved, and also in America, and you know the rule book for top fuel and funny car is really not easy. So this material is really good, and
good stuff.
We're looking forward now to do some more cool stuff. We lately, thanks Christian, got an order on another hardtail frame.
Yes,
and
with your new design that you love so much.
And then I looked into our old drawings and our old frames, what we have here with this thick 40 millimeter tubes, and the customer said from the beginning, no way, I absolutely don't want to have these big tubes, I want to have it elegant and cool. And then the upper tube now will name the new shotgun frame. She hates it. I thought this is so cool.
Boys will always be boys.
So our backbone on the hardtail frame will be now two, one top of each other, 30 millimeter tubes who will follow radius into radius, and that will be our backbone on the hardtail frame. That will soon start with, and it will be an awesome shotgun frame hardtail. Yes.
Such a hillbilly.
Yeah.
You're such a hillbilly.
Yeah, let's have a look on the weld. There is a little piece and there's another one.
This one?
Yeah. And yeah, this is really there you see this is TIG welded, but as Julia already said, it even works with MIG. So if you want to build something really what works, Ducol R8 tube is the way to go.
Yeah. Or the sheet metal, of course.
Or the sheet metal,
which is called Domix if it is thicker than 2.5 millimeter.
Yeah, it's normally to cut with of course, with a grinder you can cut it, but we cut it with a laser. Or with a water jet, and it's really nice to work with. When you bend it, same also with the tubes.
Oh yes, we have a nice story for that.
Yeah.
So I was being smart, and this lower piece, this one, is kind of a pain really to bend. So I thought, well, I make a thing that we can put in the press. So you just put in the metal piece, press it down, and it will be perfect in shape. So I thought. So I was drawing this up in the computer and got all the pieces cut, got it back, put it all together with I don't know how many screws and nuts. 1 million. The thing is heavy, I'm telling you, so heavy.
So you have a mountain tool for the bottom, and you have a top tool with the same profile, and then you put the raw piece of sheet metal pre-cut in, and then you put the tool on, and then you press it together.
That was my idea. So,
sounded great.
Sounded super, right?
Ton of money in the tool, endless time.
Super smart. So he puts it in the press, presses it down. Everything looks super. You can see how it's really following the tool, and everything's so perfect.
Because it's an asymmetrical arc.
Yes.
This piece. When you look into it,
it's a lot of asymmetrical arcs. Like there's I don't know how many radiuses in it. So he releases the press, and we're all looking at the piece.
And we learned a new word.
Yes. So we're all looking at this piece, and the piece goes ploing!
And we learned the word
springback.
Springback is a very nice word. We all wait now that spring comes back.
That's another spring, but yes.
But no. So,
that didn't work.
So then we talked to the engineers at SSRB, who are super helpful.
Yes.
Even a small company like us, this Ducol steel is used in all cars for the crash section. So I think they are market leader for this super thin steel, what you can hydroform form or in other way get into shape, and then you have it in the doors or in the front section.
In the seats too.
What take in case of a crash the energy.
So it's in basically all new cars. It doesn't matter if it's Volvo or Audi or even in the American brands. It's everywhere. Yeah.
So this. And the engineers at SSRB directly were laughing and say, yeah, but it is springback. And then later we learned, when we worked also with the tubes, that also when you bend a tube in relation to a normal steel tube, or also even in relation to chrome moly, that you need always to bend it a little bit more because the springback, and that is this
overbend it.
This is this flexibility, and there you need to have a little bit of experience,
which we didn't have at the point. So that's why it went boing and was almost perfectly straight again, and we're like, okay. Yeah.
Today we do that in this old roller. What we looked around, and then we found on the scrapyard an old roller, and we restorated it, and now it is like new. It's over 100 years old, and
works better than my press tool.
Yeah, and you can do other things, and you don't need for each radius a new tool.
Yeah. Well, I learned. Live and learn. Live and learn.
Live and learn. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Thanks for today.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Be safe, everyone.
It's Friday.
Thank God, it's another Friday. We made it to another Friday.
Yeah.
Be safe, everyone. If you're in lockdown, stay put. If you can go out, go out.
Yeah. Let's really take it as it is at the moment. Yeah. Do the right things. Help other people. Think about the others around you who might need help, or sometimes just to stay away from a neighbor at the moment is the biggest help you can give.
Yeah, don't go visiting all your 80-year-old neighbors.
Yeah. So stay safe, get good through the weekend, and have a great week. And we see us next Friday.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hey Randy, thank you for your feedback on the mic issue, and I think we really got it better now. Thank you.